Hey, it's our leader meeting. Today's October 18th. So last week we did, so in sales we did, the net sales were about 13,000. So that was a little bit of a dip than the first 2 weeks. And it's so funny because it seems like, I had said, and it wasn't as bad as the dip would have been if there was rich rewards the first 2 weeks and a different contest the last 2 weeks. And that middle week, like we talked about last week, becomes the dead zone. But even so, I feel like still somehow that middle week gets a little lost in the shuffle. And I guess it's because the end of the month brings the urgency to close because specials are ending, month is ending, whatever. The first 2 weeks has the urgency of rich rewards, and this middle is kind of like that Seinfeld episode where Kramer repainted the middle lane, and it was like, this is a cruise control, where nobody seemed to be in any particular hurry to close anything. But even so, 13,000 is still, a decent number. It's just, I'm sure you noticed that your team sales were not generally as high as the first 2 weeks were, which, Phyllis, I wanted to make sure that we didn't get to that because we ran out of time to jump on here, but I wanted you to know that as well. Because Phyllis, and maybe we could talk about this a little more right now. Phyllis had just said, oh my gosh, my team sales this week were abysmal. I want to like beat them all up. And she's like so annoyed with them. And she said, should I post something and whatnot? I said, you know what, this is more of a one-on-one thing that you deal with. So where you call someone that you thought was working or says they want to work and say, hey, I saw that, this week you didn't end up putting any sales in. Is that because you didn't want to work this week or because you couldn't find a show? Because when you push people to just, where's your sales, where's your sales, where's your sales, they may be thinking, you know what? She doesn't listen to me. I told her I was a part-timer. I told her I only wanted to do one show a week, and my hostess didn't close. And now she's going to chase me around, So this is where it's important to know their goals. So if you're working with somebody who says they want to do 2 shows a week and they're at a 0, that's who you start with, right? Where you're like, hey, I know you had told me that you wanted to do 2 shows a week. I see that nothing ended up closing this week. Do you have open shows, or did your shows not happen? Because now you can coach them from the right spot. If they say, yes, my 2 shows are open and my hostess wouldn't return my calls. Now we know to work with her to get the hostess order while you're still at her house, to make sure you have her credit card info, to walk away with what you need, right? Or to maybe she needs the words of that phone call. Hey, your friends are waiting for their jewelry. I'm going to close the party. If I don't hear from you by Wednesday at 10 o'clock, I'll just put it in, and I guess I'll see what I can do as far as your free stuff later if I'm able to still recover it. Let me tell you, that's the fastest phone call back you'll ever get. Because now they're like, oh, damn, I'm not getting my free stuff. So that will generally, so a lot of times people don't know how to say these words. They're afraid. They don't even know that it's okay to say something like that to a host. And if she says, so that's the best case scenario, right? They did do the shows. The sales are still coming. They just didn't close it right. Where they just need some strategies. Whereas if they say, yeah, I didn't have any shows last week, and then say, okay, now last we spoke, you told me you wanted to do 2 a week. Is that still the case? Yes, it is. Okay, so then let's talk about getting some shows on your calendar. What action steps are you taking each day to get some shows on your calendar? Because you can't just say, do this, do that, do this, do that, because that doesn't involve their thinking at all. It doesn't involve them thinking through the process. It doesn't involve them engaging in what they are doing. So let them start to tell you what they've done. And if they're like, honestly, I really didn't do anything. Well, and really, it's not that they didn't do anything that week. They didn't do anything 3 weeks before that, right? Because that's when that booking would have been. So does that help, Phyllis?
That's a big help. It's about the language, because people do tell me all the time, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm talking to somebody about this, that, or the other. But I think what I'm guilty of is that I've been working so hard to rebuild my business, my personal business, that I haven't really invested enough personal time with each one of my team members. And I guess I have expectations that they're going to do everything that I'm doing. And that's not true. And I think, like Mary Grace says in her videos, she always talks about being the best. I'm the leader, so I do more. So I now have to be able to encourage them to do some things differently. And that really does help. I was so frustrated when I looked last night that I went to bed hoping that I would wake up with something better. And so this morning I was like, do I just post something? Do I just say, what the hell?
And I was like, no, we're not posting that. No. And it's so funny because when you're on Eastern time, no, you're not going to go to bed on the late side and wake up to any great surprise if your whole team is on the East Coast as well. You're going to, it's not like you're going to wake up to find $10,000. So does anyone else have thoughts on what you do when this occurs, or have anything that you would like to say on this topic? Or any suggestions for Phyllis? Well, Elizabeth doesn't. Elizabeth, I just said, well, Elizabeth doesn't, because you walked away.
What did I miss?
I said, does anyone have any suggestions or questions?
Oh, no, I didn't.
I said, well, Elizabeth doesn't. Yeah. And you know what, Phyllis, though, to kind of address what you were just saying, like, you are rebuilding your own business and you should be putting most of the time into that. You need your own show schedule. You need that schedule to find the new recruits that don't have this whole, well, 2 years ago I did it this way, and they're on their fourth go round with the business. Like, we love a restart, don't get me wrong. And they're great to have because a lot of times they can, they don't need as much coaching and things like that. However, when you bring, when you're trying to resurrect people, sometimes that takes more time than doing your own show, finding a brand new person and training them from scratch. So it is totally okay for you to be, quote unquote, selfish in your business right now, because that's how you rebuild. I've talked about this with a couple of different leaders with you guys one-on-one, where I flat out tell you, like, listen, your team can take advantage of the lunch and learns. They can take advantage of all kinds of additional training. And if they're not doing that, then it's okay for you to be out doing shows to replace them. Hey, Beth.
Hi. Sorry, this might be short-lived. But
that's quite all right. We know you're at work. So,
Michelle, with you saying that, I feel guilty, though, when I don't get to touch base with them because my schedule is just so crazy at times.
Listen, I'm not saying not to, but I'm saying it's okay if when you're looking at the course of your day, if it comes to, I need to book some shows right now, or I need to call somebody that's still a zero a month later, you book that show and you call your own hostess and you call your own recruit lead. Now, do I recommend that you do try to build in some time to check in? Again, like we were talking about last week, let that be your drive to and from work that you check in with somebody on this kind of call, right? The whole, hey, woke up this morning, I checked, I saw that you didn't have any sales this week, or that you just got the one order in, but last we spoke, you had told me you had a show, or you told me you wanted to do 2 shows a week. Tell me, is that still the case, so that I know how to help you? So that's where it's good to kind of keep notes on what people want, to use that getting to know you sheet from the convention that's in the field interface. And I think I even have it on the team page, where you can use that to do that initial getting to know you call with a new team member. And that's where you find out what they want. And as you check in, because if they keep telling you, I want 2 shows a week, and then you keep talking to them on your drive to work or in your office or whatever, and when you ask them, okay, so how does your booking log look this week? And they still haven't done any work on it, what can you do? You can't book them their own shows.
Hey, Michelle.
Yes.
I actually try to do stay connected with my team a lot. So I do it, like you said, I do a lot on my drive to work and on my drive home. And I do text messages. I message during the day. But I also try to get a feel for what is their calendar of shows in the month. And I actually keep a little calendar with everybody's shows in there just to kind of have a gauge as to where they are. Because like yesterday, I knew Meltanya had a show that she had two outstanding shows. I'm like, did you see that Michelle needs us to get, we're trying to hit this goal or she's going to drawing. And so I'm like, when are you going to submit that show? So that was because I knew about her shows and what she had open. So I try to stay connected a lot with everybody on the team, even those that aren't doing anything at all. And I'll shoot you a text message. I'll do something on Messenger just to stay connected. Because I think we have so many means of communication that we can do a quick shout out and it doesn't seem impersonal if you're doing a text message like, hey, lady, just checking in. That's my new line. Hey, lady, checking in. I think I've sent that to a couple of people here. I think I do that to you too, Michelle. I'm like, hey, lady, how you doing? I never put names because I'm like, oh, if I'm talking to the wrong person, it's still okay. And I think I've done. I know I've done it to Phyllis and I've done it to Elizabeth, and I think Teresa. I think I sent you a hey lady too before. So see, look, I do a hey lady. Y'all never get personal.
You know what? That is a wonderful business habit that Joy has just pointed out for a leader. And it's pretty easy to do because if it's too much to keep it on your own calendar, to just print out, you can just Google. I mean, even Microsoft Word has blank calendars ready to go. So if you just print out a blank October calendar and keep that wherever you are and keep it tucked into your own planner and whatever, and just jot in when you know they have shows, then it's so easy to the day before see who's working the next day, see who's working later that week, so that on Monday it's, hey, I see you have 2 shows this weekend. You checked in with your host. How many people is she having? Because on Monday, a hostess who only has 2 can be rescued to still get 4 and 5. On Friday, they're going to try to cancel. So, to teach them early in the week, we check in with late in the week. Because even somebody with no people coming Monday can resurrect their party for Friday. But
and another good thing,
it's harder.
And a good thing is if you have that calendar too, if you have a party that same day, you can be like, okay, I'm going to my party, you're going to your party. What's our goal for the party? So y'all are having a little pep talk before the party. And then after the show, and I did this with Mel, she had a party on Sunday and I had one on Sunday. And T. Roy was like, how was your party? How many people came? What did you get? And so I knew she had a party and how much the party was, that they were leaving it open. And so I kind of kept a gauge of that along the way and knew she hadn't submitted it. So you still have more to talk about. And then you talk about what techniques did you use for booking? We've done so much training on that. So it's more than just saying, darn it, you're going to turn this party in. And it's all about the numbers, but it's also about the coaching and keeping them motivated.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Yes, and I had this more with my old company where there were leaders that they only ever talked to their team on the last day of the month, where it was like, hey, where's your sales? Elizabeth, you remember those days where a leader would be like, hey, where's your sales on the second to last day and the last day? And people don't like that because then they just start feeling like a number. They start feeling like, whereas like Joy is saying, if you're checking in with them, you're helping them through that show, you're helping them get the show in the first place, you're talking to them on the way there, you're just kind of, supporting them along the way. Then when you say, hey, where's that show? It feels like it's from such a better place because it's like, hey, you worked and I want you to get paid. Because that's how I feel about it a lot of times. It's like when people hold a show open for so long, it's like, hey, you worked 3 weeks ago for that and you don't have your money. If you have worked a normal job and they withheld your paycheck for 3 weeks because somebody didn't return your call, you'd be like, what the hell is this? I need to get paid. So I kind of like to try to instill that in the team too, that this is another reason why you want to close your party because you deserve to be paid. So don't let your hostess drag it on. So yeah, that is really, really good stuff, Joy. Thank you. Is there another topic that somebody would like to talk about today? I have another one in mind, but I want to make sure that we talk about what you guys came to the call today for. I know Beth is on limited time too. So is there something specific you want to address, Beth?
No, I'm just happy to be on the call for once.
Okay,
So. My day job is kicking my butt right now, so I'm happy to be here with you.
Well, the other thing that I wanted to address with you guys today, so a while back, and if some of this is before some of you were even leaders with us, was that we did a training on direct appoints a while back, and Park Lane had done some training with me to call our own leads and stuff now. Well, what we learned is that I stink at that job. Okay, so I have resumed sending leads, but not to Kathy. I'm sending them to Lori Mitchell. Lori Mitchell is wonderful to work with on direct appoint leads. It's such a different process. She lets me know when she's gotten in touch with them. She lets me know when the phone appointment is. She lets me know when it's the second follow-up is, or it's okay for you to call them now. You can do the follow-up. It's a whole new world. So, and don't tell anyone I said that, but I'm just telling you that it is wonderful. And Lori, the main difference, I'm sure if it was my full-time job to call people like that, I would be better at it, but it's not. And I'll tell you what, it takes tremendous bravery to call these leads. Some of them hang up on you. Some of them you have to call back time and time again. And I just don't have the proper system set up yet. And it's been decided that they actually don't want me spending my time doing that anymore. They'd rather that I work with you guys and work my own business and whatever. And that's fine by me. So I wanted to ask you guys to either resurrect leads you may have sent me in the past and resend them to me so that I can get them to Lori. She's already gotten in touch with somebody that I got once via text and then never got an answer. She's talking to him tomorrow. And it was somebody downline to Tiffany. So now just as a quick recap, because again, I can never be sure what everybody remembers or has been taught. But with the Direct Appoint program, and it's not just for you, your fashion directors can use this program. This is when we, provide information of a leader in another, preferably home party style company, and have them see if they would like some information on Park Lane. And it is presented as such. It's just, would you like some information? We're not asking them to switch. We're not asking them to come on an interview. We're asking if they want some information. And then should that person join, if they come in as a leader that is one level or lower below than you, then you have a new leader on your team. So if you're a senior division, you have room for areas and divisions to come onto your team. If you're a division, you have room for areas. So it's a great way to supplement building your team from the top down and the bottom up, because that person may bring the team they have with them. They may bring a couple of them, or they might just bring the knowledge of how to do it and go do it with regular people at regular shows. If that person was to come in at the same level or you or higher, then they become lateral to you, which is kind of what we call the parent recommend, is the way it looks on your paycheck. You would earn 2% of what you and those team members do each week that you meet the sales requirements of your level. So we would just need to look at the booklet for each of your levels and see what it is. You do get the first 6 weeks carte blanche. So even if you're not at the level, you will get it for the first 6 weeks, which kind of gives you a little time to hustle to try to get yourself to that weekly, or at least sometimes that weekly net sales level. And then not only do you get the 2%, but when you are ready to promote to the next level, that leader or multiple extra, lateral leaders can provide up to 50% of the sales that you need for the next level. So if you're an area trying to get to division and you know that you need to do 10,000 over the 2 months, then the 10,000, then that parent it's 10,000 each month for 2 months, 20,000. That person can provide 10,000, or multiple of those leaders can provide 10,000 of the 20,000 you need. So some of you have heard me say this 100 times. Some of you have heard me say it never. That was a big factor in how I promoted to company VP, because I had 3 sales VPs, one of whom had a lot of volume, and they provided 50%. And then we didn't quite meet the full 50%, but they provided, a good 40%. And then my internal team did the rest. And then look what happens. If you then promote so that that leader is now the next level down from you, now they all come onto your team. And in our case, some of those leaders left. So and honestly, if the leader left without me promoting, there's a very good chance that because they were recommended by me, those leaders would have been reassigned to me anyway. So, and some of you are them. So I just want to make sure that you know that even if, because when really in the case of all of those leaders, but the biggest one, we came in only a couple of months apart from each other. And there was many, many, many months that I did not earn 1 cent. And I was like, oh, that stinks. But I didn't get mad about it. I did not recommend anyone else because of it. I stuck with the recommendation program. And eventually, as the volume built, it did work to my advantage. So if you're thinking, I'm not going to do that, I won't even make the 2%, you're missing out, because eventually you will. And it can still help you promote to the next level. So if you can build into your already very busy schedules a little research time, as far as, Google and Facebook and all of that is very helpful in finding leaders. Also, using that full color referral slip is a great thing to throw in at your own parties. So you're taking the time in many cases to play a ticket game, to do some Q&A, to do some sort of something that is communicating business information at your shows. The smartest thing that you could do would say, you know what, now that you know a bunch about the business, if that sounds like something you'd like to know, then I would love for you to put your name on here so that I'll know to follow up with you with some information. But maybe you just thought of someone else you know. Do you know somebody who's already a leader in direct sales? Maybe they used to be and they're not anymore. Maybe they are, but they kind of complain to you a lot about that. They don't even really like the business anymore. Put them down, because I would love to share some information. That's how you get people to give you the leads, and then we give them to Lori. So does anyone have any thoughts, questions, or ideas on that?
How exactly does that referral thing work? I've never ever used it. I mean, I have them, but I've never turned one in.
It's really just, there's really nothing to turn in anymore. It's really just a means of you getting information. So if you would like, you can say, and I'm going to do a special drawing from these at the end of the party, so that people know from these, if they participate in filling out one of these, they're in a raffle for this.
And then that's for new starts also?
It's really, yes, that's true. That's for anybody.
Okay. So, and the company will give them $50?
That's over. So I would just do it as a drawing, or tell them that you will reward them. Like, you could kind of just do your own thing. They found that literally over the course of an entire year, 3 or something got mailed in from the whole world. So it was kind of,
Well, because I was like, I'm not for sure how.
yeah, nobody understood it. It was weird. So better to just kind of handle it however you want to handle it. Do a drawing at the show, and then let them know that any of these people that you just recommended, if they join my team, I'm sending you blah, blah, blah. Or I'm going to send you a gift card, or I'm going to give you a piece of jewelry, or whatever you want to do. So, and what's on here is the way it's worded is their name, phone, email, submitted by, which means the person filling out the form, and then their phone number. So I think a cute thing to do with this is to bring a prize in a really nice gift box. And it's one that has, you know how there's gift boxes that you can open it and it stays pretty. They don't have to unwrap it and ruin it. So to put the prize in one of those, and then say, you know what, to me, Park Lane has been such a gift to me and my family, and I have a gift in here to thank any of you, to thank you for allowing me to share the gift with someone you know. So I'm going to collect all these from any of you that can think of someone you'd like to recommend. You can put yourself, you can put someone you know in direct sales, someone that you just think loves jewelry and would be great at this. I'm going to pick a winner, and you're getting the gift inside of here to thank you for helping me share the gift of Park Lane as well. And any of you, whether you win this prize or not, if any of the names that you write down on here end up joining my team, you, of course, will get an additional gift. So just a little extra something that you could do to be intentional about getting any kind of leads, whether it's going to be somebody with because then when you collect them, find out from the person saying it, does she have ask, so tell me about Sue that you wrote on here. Oh, that's my aunt. She sold Tupperware for like 1 million years. She went on trips. She won the car, and then she just kind of got bored with it, and she doesn't do it anymore. Or it might just be, oh, that's Fran, my cousin. She is a fashionista. She loves jewelry. She should totally be doing this. So you can kind of get some information on the person so that you know which way to proceed, if she's a leader lead or just a regular lead. And I'm almost positive that you could print these out from the field interface if you don't have them. Does that sound like something you'd be comfortable trying? Because the cool thing is that if we all go out and do that at our shows this weekend, or whenever your next shows are, you can then turn to the team and say, hey, I tried this at my show. I ended up getting XYZ leads. One is joining, one is I have a launch show booked, one I gave to Lori Mitchell, and they're going to see like, oh, okay, that works. I'm going to try that. That's the thing about trying stuff yourself first. And even just in general, sharing what you're doing with the team is always a good strategy. Last night, that's why I did that post last night. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes they want to work, but they don't know what they should be doing. Which is why I was like, hey, I'm watching hockey tonight, but I'm also doing a ton of customer care here, and here's what I'm saying. So that if somebody else was sitting watching TV, maybe they would throw out a few text messages as well. Because, man, do I have a large pile to still go through. I think I'm up to May. I started from January because I let it get so out of hand that I haven't done the right follow-up. And, I got a lot of nice messages back like, yep, I love it. Thank you so much. And then I of course, follow up with the, did you know, blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes they're like, no, I'm good, but thanks for asking. Okay, no problem. Hope to see you at a show soon. I'm totally good with that. Because then I know that I have at least one more person out there telling other people how much they love Park Lane. And not wondering, because every once in a while I'm like, man, are people out there with messed up stuff and they don't know? And then the one girl showed me, she goes, I wear everything but these two. And she showed me a pair of earrings that I didn't even know what they were. They were so old. She must have found them. She was a Facebook party, so she found some like pair of earrings out of the archive, and they were broken. And then she showed me her silver glow hoops. She said, I don't wear these because the first one's broke, and the second one's, the backings keep slipping off. So the one pair we don't even have anymore, and I wasn't even going to worry about it because this, like I said, this is from like March or something. I said, but the glows, so you shouldn't be having a problem with. So I was like, oh, let me handle that for you. I said, the first pair is totally not even available anymore, but I would love to get you a new pair of the glow hoops. And I took care of it with her. She didn't even care about the first pair. Like, she wasn't like, well, what about the first one? Can I get a different one? Can you give me a credit? Like, she was just like, okay, these are broken. I'll throw those out. But I'm glad. She was like, she entirely thrilled with the whole transaction. Thanks so much. Looking forward to getting them. Awesome. So I was glad that I didn't make a big deal out of the first ones. They were cheap anyway. They were like $20. Any thoughts, questions, additional things you want to talk about today?
I'll give an example of, I've been doing twice now, I've sent off a list to that email on this email program. I don't know if I'd say it's worth it yet or not because I've only got a couple orders, but I did have one interesting thing happen. A client from an old stylist, she had a broken hot hipster bracelet, and she contacted me via email and said, hey, I broke this necklace. My bracelet's one of my favorites. I just happened to have one. So I went over there and handed her a whole new catalog and that bracelet. And now who knows what she asked me, she goes, so is Casey selling anymore? And I go, no, she's not. So just contact me. And she said that she would get back to me after the holidays, and she wants to see the new catalog when it comes out. And you just never know. So I handed her a catalog. So made her happy.
Yeah.
And it was someone I would have never, ever known if I didn't look at those reports. So.
Yeah. Well, did you put that in a note somewhere that in January, to call such and such to get back with such and such? Because you'll forget after the new year. That's the thing. Like, that's one of the things that I've been getting a lot better about. That blue folder that says booking leads. Anything that, because the way that I'm doing the customer care is when I close the show, I print out the PDF of the whole show so that the hostess order is, the summary's on the top, then the hostess order, then all the customers, so that I can sit on the couch and just do all in a row and all the phone numbers are there. And that's why when she showed me that picture, I was like, I don't even know what those are. So I referred to her order and I'm like, okay, there's 2 earrings on here. I actually don't know what they are. The first ones came up, but that wasn't them. The second ones were the ones. So, but I put a note on what she needed, and then that went into the booking folder and the follow-up and all of that. So, and I had a couple of other interactions that were, yes, I would actually probably like to get together. My schedule's crazy right now, so I made sure that I put it in there because she's not going to remember to get back to me, but I'll remember to get back to her. So keeping that folder of all the follow-ups is really what's going to make it worth it. Otherwise, you're dependent on her getting back with you, and if that's the case, go take a catalog right now and flush it down your toilet because she's not calling you. So
what I usually do is I usually put it right in the column of my date book.
Yep.
As a reminder, follow-ups or tentative parties.
Yes.
As a reminder to myself.
Especially, and if your calendar ends, sometimes I squish them in that lower right-hand corner of December. But soon you got to get a new planner because in November, you really need to start booking January. That's a really important thing to be doing. Anybody who doesn't want to show for holiday shopping, we're saying, well, then why don't we pencil you in for next year? January, everybody's bored. Nobody's got anything to do. I would love to pencil you in because we usually do, what is it, 50, 100? We usually do $250 in extra free in January to the hostesses. So, oh, see, here's another one. She just said, love the necklaces and the earrings. All overall good things. My rings are tarnishing. Okay, so I'll find out what ring she has and I'll figure it out. Yeah, so the noting, Teresa, I started using the constant contact as well. I've been doing quite a bit of emailing because the way that I figured it out, you know, because it's $70 a month, I said, all right, so I either need $200 in orders or a booking or something to make this worth it. And sure enough, my real estate agent that I bought this house with texted me, I like some of the necklaces in your emails. I know that, you know, I love chunky necklaces. And I haven't had her here since I bought the house. So I said, well, why don't you come over one day next week for lunch and I'll take out the jewelry and we'll see what you like. And she said, okay, how about Tuesday? So now I have a personal appointment on Tuesday with her. And then I'm like, well, if Lisa's coming, I might as well see if Camille wants to come. Camille is a past host, good customer, girl from the same neighborhood. I said, hey, Lisa's coming over on Tuesday for lunch and statement necklaces. Want to come? All capitals. Yes, thank you for inviting me. See you Tuesday. So there's my $70 return.
Hey! So what were you putting in your email? Because I've only got 2 orders so far for 2 months.
Oh, well, dude, that's 2 more orders than I've gotten, but.
Well, I'm just wondering if, yeah, but they weren't. So, but I'm wondering if I'm putting too much. I went back and I was looking at my click-throughs. I didn't have really good click-throughs. And I was looking at the jewelry that were on there, and I had like 12 of them that I was clicking, you know, that they had a choice to go to. How many choices are you doing, I guess is what I mean.
Definitely not 12. I'm probably featuring maybe 6 pieces in any given email.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I thought about doing another one out for my Rome or Bust sale that I got going on.
Well, what I haven't done that I was excited to do, and I forgot until you started saying it, what this email program allows you to do is look at who clicked what. So you can link,
right,
you know, specifically the Skylar necklace and then see who clicked the Skylar necklace so that then you can follow up with a special on the Skylar necklace for booking a show or for whatever.
That's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that yet.
Because then what you can do is segment that out. So let's say you have a group of 10 people that all click the Skylar necklace. You can email just them and let them know, you know, Skylar necklace, $19. And show the photo. They're going to open that email because they've already been interested in that piece and they want to know how to get it for $19. And then you can, in the email, talk about how you're doing sip and shops for the holidays. You'll receive a Skylar necklace for $19 as well as blah, blah, blah. So that's really the next level that I have to start doing. But I feel like I have to be emailing them for a while to generate those types of lists.
Right. Yeah.
But I am trying to do at least 2 a week.
Oh, you are? Okay. Because I was worried I was going to overkill it if I did more than once a month.
Dress Barn emails me every day. Every day, Dress Barn emails me. So does Kohl's.
It's true. I guess as long as
market I haven't set foot in 2 years because I gained too much weight to shop there, and they still email me once a week. I stayed on the list because I'm like, oh, but I'll be skinny enough soon to start shopping there again. So I don't want to unsubscribe.
Well, okay, then I will go and do a Rome or Bust today.
Absolutely.
And have them go to my Facebook group. So
100%. And every time a link to your group, every time a link to your website, you know, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I have that on both the times I did do that. Could you email it to me? Your email?
If I can figure out how to, yes. Meaning an old one to resend. I'll look if I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. All right. Well, ladies, this was very enjoyable and hopefully helpful. Go have a great rest of your day. Let's check in with the team and see who's working this weekend. Let's start there. You know, hey, what are your shows for the next 2 weeks? Maybe it's overwhelming to get all their shows, but you can throw it out there. Hey, who has a show in the next 2 weeks? That way you can choose to coach them. You can choose to go. You can choose to do something special for their hostess. There's so many things that we can do when we know that they're working. So let's take that challenge. Let's find out what our team has on the calendar for the next 2 weeks and share on our leader page what you're doing about it. You know, I'm going to call, I'm going to go, I'm going to see if she wants me to get in touch with her hostess, whatever it is. I would love to share some ideas on that. Thank you for all of your wonderful ideas. And also the other challenge would be to email me. Leads, please do email, because when they get sent in text and cut and pasted and messenger and stuff, they get lost. So please, with emails, leads for me to send to Lori, send with the subject line, you know, lead or lead for Lori Mitchell or something. And I send them to her in groups. That way they don't get all lost as well. So I'll send her a bunch. And I always specify whose is who. It's not like I'm taking anybody's lead. If it's a lead that's your team but somebody on your team, then I said, like, this is a lead for Tiffany Nickel, for Division Tiffany Nickel, for her team member LaShonda Moore. And then I sent it. So Lori notes all of that down so the proper credit is given and they end up on the right team and all of that. So all will be right. All right, girlies. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.